Here's what happened during week 8 of the Greenhouse game. The final Greenhouse challenge of the season had players building towers, and Meredith, Christian, and Brandon entered the greenhouse. But not so fast. Claire had the green thumb that Lainey bought last week, and she used it to replace Meredith in the greenhouse. So the final 3 players in the greenhouse were Claire, Christian, and Brandon. Christian took the sunflower, Claire took the rose, and Brandon won 2 seeds. Christian and Claire agreed to stick with their alliance with Brandon and Bryce by nominating Meredith and Drake. Christian would nominate Drake and Claire would nominate Meredith. Meredith and Drake agreed that the writing was on the wall. They would probably be seeing the nomination block this week. Christian told Meredith and Drake that he could nominate one of them and give them a seed as sunflower, which would let them potentially get the uproot. However, if Christian really wanted to work with both Meredith and Drake, he would nominate either Bryce or Brandon, which would give Drake and Meredith the opportunity to buy the uproot from off the block. That scenario would keep them both safe, if they had enough seeds to do it. Christian doesn't make this offer, however.
Protect Meredith. All this game I've had to hide who I'm aligned with, and Drake just begged me to, he just told me to put him up, and that hides my alliance with them. So, moving forward, that's what they want me to do. Both sides want me to do the same thing. That works out this round, I guess. I'm gonna just have to make sure I feel like I've lost this game already. I'm just gonna have to make sure I plead to a jury if I get there. But do it right.
Meredith is upset at the idea of Claire nominating her right after Claire stole Meredith's spot in the greenhouse.
Right now, but I hope game recognizes game, and this isn't personal.
No, I know that. I completely understand that it's not personal. It still feels like it doesn't recognize game.
Drake feels betrayed by Lainey, who he worked with closely for most of the game. Why didn't Lainey give him the green thumb? Claire recognizes that Drake and Meredith potentially have enough to buy an uproot. They agree to make Bryce the replacement nominee, and then Brandon's vote and Bryce's banked vote would be enough to send home either Drake or Meredith, whichever one stayed on the block. They also still agree that Christian is a shady player.
Because I trust Christian, but not as far as I can throw him, and I'm not very strong. I'm not very strong.
Okay.
Little Christian, okay?
Okay.
He's not your friend. He's your enemy.
I can't throw it too far.
Christian talked to Bryce about potentially flipping on Claire and Brandon, but Bryce told Christian that it was too late for that and that they should just stick it out. At the nomination ceremony, Christian switched things up on Claire.
I feel like this is a fair move. We know who we're putting up. I'm gonna flip it. And I feel like it's fair for me to put up Meredith. I feel like there's no point either way. So I'm putting up Meredith.
Okay, Meredith was nominated. Claire, you make the second nomination.
There was a fucking point to it, because I have Drake's trust, and I trust Drake, and I didn't want to be the one to put him up. So fuck you, Drake, you're on the block.
Alright, Meredith and Drake, you are our nominees. Let us move to the auction.
Meredith,
What's the difference? One of them goes home.
there was a point to it because
Yeah.
Drake and I had a thing.
Okay, good for you. Maybe me and Meredith had a thing. I had to put her up.
You didn't talk to about it. You walked in that room and you said, I'm putting up Drake, so what are you doing?
Yeah, you didn't talk to me about it, that you had a thing with Drake.
I think it's very clear whenever I saved his ass from the Venus flytrap that I
No.
did it to earn trust because I said it in front of everyone and you can roll the clip.
So it's my fault that you had to put a person up. That's basically what I'm seeing.
There was a strategic point to it.
One of them is going right now.
Okay.
At the auction, Meredith bid 3 seeds and Drake bid 4 seeds, and Meredith gave a heartfelt plea to stay in the game, saying that she worked so hard to get this far. It worked on Brandon, who asked for some more time.
I don't think it's a good idea for me to do anything right now, but I kind of want to. Because she's right. And she's played a really, really solid game, and I think evening out the odds would make it fair, because I'm still fine either way. And if she was saved, it would give me another ally moving forward now that I'm pretty much ready to throw Christian off of the roof of the building. Love you though, but that's where I'm at. So I'm at least considering it, because as of right now, it's just a done deal. Now, if anyone else decides to be a jerk and add it, that's something else, you know?
Brandon ultimately decides that trying to help Meredith is not worth the hassle. And at the end of the auction, Drake buys the uproot and saves himself from elimination. Claire nominated Bryce as the replacement nominee according to the plan. Christian asked Brandon if they would be going to the final 3 together, and Brandon replied with, "I want 4 people in the final 3, which told Christian everything he needed to know. Recognizing that he's being cornered, Christian decides to play an emotional angle now that strategically he's outnumbered.
I feel like this is coming down to how well I played, how well I secured my bonds. If I get in a sticky situation in the Final Four, I'm going to make people cry. I want to get to the finals. But I feel like I did not handle this well toward the end. So I feel like that's my fault. I deserve to not advance. But if people want to get me out of Final Four, I'm going to make you cry. I can make any of the Final Four cry. That's it. And I'm going to. If y'all want to get me out, I'm going to make you cry.
At the banishment ceremony, Meredith was eliminated by a vote of 2-1. She made it all the way to the top 6 after being a target from the first challenge of the game. I mean, work. The final 5 is another daisy chain elimination, and Claire won a challenge in which no one got any of the questions correct. The chain itself is less than a minute, so I'll show it here.
Because I just put him up, I'm gonna pick Bryce.
Okay, Bryce, you've been saved.
I'm gonna say Brandon.
Brandon, you've been saved. And Brandon?
I'm gonna pick Christian.
Okay. Drake, you are our first nominee. Please have a seat. Alright, Drake, who are you going to face on the block? You pick anyone but Claire.
Christian.
Christian, you nominated.
Oh, this is rough.
Okay. Drake and Christian, you are nominated. Let's go do the auction. At the auction, Drake was all out of seeds, and he pled to Claire, Brandon, and Bryce to keep him over Christian because he was a more loyal and honest player than Christian was. Brandon appreciated the argument, but didn't want to go back on his word to Christian that he wanted 4 people in the final 3. At the end of the auction, no one bid on anything, and Christian and Drake were the final nominees. Drake was ultimately banished by a unanimous vote. In the Final 4 round, players use any remaining seeds to vote for final immunity. The player who receives the most votes is immune and eliminates the final player from the game. Players are not allowed to vote for themselves, but they are allowed to pass seeds around. Claire, Brandon, and Bryce agreed to go to the final 3 together and finally cut Christian here. Claire didn't want to make the move because she had already burned too many bridges, and Bryce had the same concern after backstabbing Lainey. Brandon ultimately said he was willing to shoot the shot. Christian tried a few emotional pleas to stay, but none of them really hit home. He had played the middle very well throughout the game, but with 3 people from one side of the game against him, there was no more middle to ride. Brandon ultimately breaks the news to Christian that Christian is going home. In a final effort, Christian says that Claire is most likely to win, not Christian. Brandon doesn't agree. After a very emotional vote for immunity, it was Brandon who won immunity by a vote of 11-2 to 0-0. And Brandon delivered the final vote to banish.
But I will evict Christian.
Christian, you have been banished from the greenhouse. 3 remain. The winner is crowned next time on The Greenhouse.